heads up. Bobcat's on the move. Driver wouldn't wait.
That's fine, thanks, Andy. Hey, Kate, bear with me. It's gonna get a little noisy here. We gotta clear out some mines.
Take your time. Just let me know when you can talk.
Die klären die ganzen Minen. Oder da mal zu. Eigentlich hinter dem laufen, rein theoretisch.
Okay, road's safe now. Bring the van on up.
Will do. Also, Mac, the NATO guys, they've kicked in all the doors. You're free to search inside the buildings now.
Got it. At least I can get out of the fucking rain. I'll come find you in a bit.
Have fun reminiscing.
Morning. You been in?
You kidding me? I ain't going in there, man. That shit's all yours.
Das ist meins. Was ist
Where are you now?
Who, me? I'm exploring.
I can hear an echo.
Yeah, I'm in what used to be the mayor's place, actually. At least it was before the government forces took it over.
Okay, da hat man eine Erinnerung. Hier ist die nächste. Schauen wir mal rein.
Tell me more about Staff Sergeant Adams. You met him on a previous deployment. That must have been in Generous, right?
No, actually, this was after I'd left the military. Previous deployment with IDAP, Pakistan. It must have been, God, 15 years ago? I think. Feels like another lifetime.
Okay. So sah hier damals aus, das haben wir ja gesehen, als wir selber Schütze dort waren. War ja hier noch alles ordentlich und jetzt, wenn wir zurückkehren, alles zerstört hier. Blutig und so weiter. Danach nach oben. Auch ebenfalls, oh, ist der Erinnerung.
I got a leaflet here. The army must have scattered thousands of these.
Propaganda.
Something like that.
Wir könnten jetzt neu spielen. Mach mal. Ich denke mal, wir können noch zurückkehren. Falls irgendwas wichtig
This one
wäre.
says, there's still time to surrender. Maybe a bad choice of words considering.
Wie gesagt, Freunde, ich höre ja auch größtenteils nur zu.
Time to surrender. What's the context here?
This was last year, September. These leaflets, they were dropped maybe a day before the fighting began. You see, the guerrillas there, they'd found themselves a new leader. Charismatic, ex-military. For him, this was no time to surrender. Far from it. In fact, he used that time to rally his people, encourage them to resist, build defenses. Meanwhile, the army was setting up for a major offensive. The attack on Oreo Castro, it was no secret. Of course, after the leaflet drop, IDAP started to pull out of the town. So the little I do know, well, that brings us back to the brother. The one who disappeared.
Oh, jetzt endlich mal coole Kleidung. Mir gefällt der Hut sehr gut.
His name was Alexis. He'd volunteered to build a barricade. Town was his home, after all.
Okay, wir haben einiges zu tun. Barrikade bauen. Nehmen wir noch andere Autos für. Ich weiß gar nicht, ob hier draußen noch welche stehen. Dort oben ist mittlerweile auch schon wieder zu. Flugblatt. Gucken wir mal, welche Aufgabe machen wir denn als erstes, Freunde? Da ist gefährlich. Okay. Weiß ich auch, warum da gefährlich ist. Hier so.
By that point, the guerrillas were short on vehicles, damaged, destroyed, or otherwise. They had to improvise.
Das ist also der Truppführer.
Alexis lived in a workshop During the attack, he let his comrades set up a position there.
He put his home right in the line of fire. Quite a sacrifice.
Ja, also wir haben anscheinend das Ganze jetzt übernommen hier. Und die normalen Soldaten quasi versuchen wieder zu erobern. Und ja. Kaum noch Fahrzeuge übrig, das stimmt, das sehen wir hier auch. Ich würde mich gerne erstmal auf die Suche machen. Ja, genau. Was die Regierung zu sagen hat. Sind da... Ihm scheint alles in Ordnung zu sein. Sunny ist auch schlecht, wir gehen hier überall mal rein.
And just to clarify, Alexis's brother, the civilian killed in the landmine accident, he didn't join the guerrillas, correct?
No, he didn't. I mean, it's not like he didn't care, but he hated the politics of it all. He had his workshop, he looked after his neighbors, that was enough for him. He kept to himself.
If I understand it, you know about what happened through the brother. Alexis, was it? Did you meet him?
Not directly, but, you know, it's a small town, right? People knew Alexis. After what happened here, I talked to the locals, found out what I could. The rest of what I know is pieced together from the commission report itself.
Actually, that incident report, the evidence you submitted, that's partly why I asked for the interview. I want to gain a human perspective.
Well, that's understandable. I mean, for a humanitarian commission, those reports tend to be,
A little detached, yes.
IDAP's neutrality was one thing, but the situation they faced was quite another.
You mean to say even your own vehicles were commandeered?
Nothing like biting the hand that feeds you, huh?
At what point did things become unsafe in the center of town?
Well, I'm not sure it was ever completely safe. Even before things escalated, we were concerned about being accidentally targeted. And to be honest, it didn't matter where we moved. That always remained a concern.
Okay, die Herren hier sind auf jeden Fall gut ausgerüstet. Der schießt auch gut rum. Braucht das Supplies hier. Zivilisten, die mittlerweile auch bewaffnet wurden. Wie wir gerade gesehen haben. Also, meines Erachtens nach ist viel zu erkunden hier. Natürlich großes Thema sind die Minen. Was haben wir hier für einen? So, die machen Schießübungen hier, die Herrschaften. Verstehe. Hier auch vorher die Repair Station. Mittlerweile ist hier anscheinend so ein Punkt. Barrikade würde ich gerne bauen, aber irgendwie gibt es hier keine Fahrzeuge.
So, just to clarify, in your email you said you served as a combat engineer, the Marine Corps?
That's right. South Zagoria, generous.
Then it's fair to say you're no stranger to the subject of my article, the laws of armed conflict.
I've seen a few things, heard stories. It's rarely been, you know, clear-cut, right and wrong.
Oh, absolutely. That's why it's so important to gain your perspective. You've seen things from both sides. I mean, now as an NGO too.
Sure, yeah.
Interessant. Zumindest ist alles noch liebevoll hier eingerichtet, muss man ja zugeben. Hier hat man ein Auto, das kann man mit zur Barrikade dann vielleicht bringen. Die reden auch nicht mit uns.
How well armed were these guerrillas?
Couldn't say for sure. Varied from place to place. There was actually an armory in a building on the west side of the town, though. It's somewhere we still need to investigate, once we find a way in.
These vehicles, I suppose all of them were taken without consent.
Well, yeah, given the circumstances. The owners couldn't exactly refuse.
Right, but That's the thing. Never mind theft being illegal. The laws of armed conflict prohibit such actions.
Ah, ich verstehe. Den SUV und den Krankenwagen, den könnte man davor mit an die Straße stellen. Deswegen kam die Meldung, dass wir den nutzen sollen. Okay, das machen wir. Genau wie die Limousine. Alles, was wir noch verfügbar haben, mit hier hinstellen.
Help me out with some context here. This barricade.
I mean, it was crude, right? A gap between two outcrops of rock, natural bottleneck. The guerrillas hoped to block the road by jamming it with vehicles. As for the vehicles in the barricade, the commission actually linked the plates to a number of locals. Of course, several were still missing after the incident, so the investigation made some assumptions.
So, mit der Ausklippe ist er verbunden. Holen wir jetzt noch schnell die anderen zwei Autos. Erdbeben?
Hey, just a thought. You remember the earthquakes back then?
Yes, they were quite frequent. Were IDAP at all concerned about that?
Oh, yeah. Any kind of disaster relief on top of what we were dealing with, it would have just about finished us off completely.
Ja, man sieht schon wirklich hier, alle Fahrzeuge, die wir irgendwie noch zur Verfügung haben, werden hier eingesetzt, wirklich um das Ding zuzumachen. Ich kann mir gut vorstellen, dass danach die Minen kommen. So, wie sollen wir den denn hinstellen? Mit hin, oder? Sollen wir den hinten dran stellen? Mal so hin. Und dann bauen wir die Barrikade weiter mit der letzten Limousine. Frage mich, vielleicht noch. Überall Erste-Hilfe-Koffer. Also, die haben anscheinend alles medizinische Zeug noch genommen. Ist ja klar, Lagerung, es kommt nichts mehr rein. Alles, was hier war, ist irgendwie jetzt in Benutzung. Das ist einfach so schön, dass hier die Leute rumlaufen, keine Waffe drum machen. Ich kann mir gut vorstellen, dass hier gleich Soldaten versuchen, das Ganze wieder zu übernehmen. Das ist auf jeden Fall mein Gedanke.
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh. Just, I was thinking, even took a local priest's car. I remember I was talking to Father Georgiopoulos, and he was actually very good about the whole thing.
How so?
Something about rich men and camels.
Da.
After Alexis built the barricade, what then? Did he stay inside the town?
No, that's where the story gets more complicated. The barricade itself was later chained up and set on fire by someone else. I don't know quite who. Alexis, he headed west to lay mines.
Also, wir sind anscheinend der schlimme Finger, der die ganzen Minen jetzt setzen darf. Ja, natürlich alleine wieder raus, so wie immer. Ich denke mal, unterwegs wird viel.
Anti-tank mines were already in the ground. If there's no pull fuse, and so long as they've not been stacked, they aren't too hard to remove. But Alexis, although he didn't use anti-handling devices, he did create a hybrid minefield.
AT mines. Mixed with APs.
That's it, yeah. He put anti-personnel mines around the anti-tank ones, made clearance all that much harder.
Ja. Also, wir sind jetzt der schlimme Finger wirklich, der die ganzen Minen legt. Gegen Personen. Den Soldaten so schwierig wie möglich zu machen.
How did they get hold of them?
Minen mitgenommen. Schöne Tasche. Das sind die neuen Taschen, die auch mit reingekommen sind. Also das ganze Outfit ist neu
They
mit
got them when the
reingekommen.
government's outposts fell into guerrilla hands. Bounding mines. A type that leaps up a meter into the air before exploding. Nasty stuff. Hell, nowadays they're even made with plastic casing to throw off older types of mine detector.
Lovely.
Oh yeah, just do yourself a favor. Don't look up Bouncing Betty injuries online. Into gorilla hands, bounding mines. A type that leaps up a meter into the air before exploding. Nasty stuff. Hell, nowadays they're even made with plastic. It was important for Alexis to place his mines near the anti-tank ones.
Einfach zu blöd. Nehmen die AT. Was meinen die damit? Meinen die doch da oben das Ding oder was? Okay, komplett auf
They
den
got them when
Schlauch.
the government's outposts fell into guerrilla hands. Bounding mines. A type that leaps up a meter into the air before exploding. Nasty stuff. Hell, nowadays they're even made with plastic casing to throw off older types of mine detector.
Lovely.
Oh yeah, just do yourself a favor. Don't look up Bouncing Betty injuries online.
Ich muss die doch nehmen, die Ding. So, welche gehen jetzt hier? Über die darf ich drauf treten. Bei den anderen zweien jagen mich in die Luft. Da soll ich sie daneben packen. Warte, Wurst. Lustige Geschichte. Hier kann man eine hinpacken.
And they're still there?
Mm-hmm. And not for long.
Okay.
We're setting up our demining drones as we speak.
Ich hab's geblickt, Freunde. Ich hab's geblickt.
You know, thinking about it, even if we had a record of where Alexis's mines were, it may not do much good.
No? I thought minefield maps were a key part of your work.
Most folks don't realize, but landmines, they don't stay put. Heavy rain, landslides, keeping a map current. Alexis proved to be quite the combat engineer. He placed the mines exactly as he'd been shown.
So, moving on, where did Alexis go next?
He took a quad bike up to the castle behind the town.
The castle? Why?
He was needed at the guerrillas' base camp.
Okay. His group were running things from up at the castle.
Mm-hmm. And I see what you're getting at. Yeah, Geneva Convention's cultural objects, I think.
The barricade. There wasn't any way around it then?
From the road? No, well, not unless you cut through the compound.
Maybe a technical question.
Go ahead.
In these situations, do those involved commonly record the locations of minefields?
That's a tough one. Take this situation, for example. I'm convinced Alexis would have made a record. It's his home, after all. But do we have access to that information? No. And that's the problem. Things, information, people, landmines, they get lost in the fog of war. But that's the thing about landmines. Lost or not, they stick around. They wait to be found.
So. Da sind wir endlich bei der
Do you
Burg.
feel these preparations made a difference?
In the short term, I do, yeah. The barricade held. The government's tanks were knocked out on the road.
And in the long term?
I'd go on, but as you may have heard, it's getting kind of loud here.
By the sounds of it, you've got your hands full.
This'll only take a minute. Be right back.